Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz, your host of the Raiders Report, and I got a fun show on tap for all of y'all. I will tell you, Jeremy Chug's not in the building today, but don't worry. You guys will have a lot of chugs for the rest of the week because I'll be at a bachelor party. I got Trzy Trace filling in today, so hey, you never know. We're always down for a good time. Mondays, I don't usually drink, so I'm going to have some different jerseys today. Reminder, the only way that I'm going to drink today is if somebody hits the gong. But I will say I got a hell of a show on tap for everybody that's tuning in today on Monday. Hopefully all y'all had an amazing weekend. I know I did, catching up on a little bit of sleep. Watched a really good UFC fight, some good hockey games as well. But coming up here on today's live Raiders Report show, we're going to talk a little bit about a free agent that has been linked to the Silver and Black, Stephon Gilmore. Find out what's the latest going on with this guy. Because here's the one thing. We got a lot of money. For the past 2 weeks, we've been sitting up here talking about Raiders are going to get XYZ, $24.07 million after June 1st. It is after June 1st, and with mandatory minicamp starting on June 11th, I could see the Raiders potentially making a few moves here and there after Raiders OTAs June 6th. But we're going to talk about that player today. We're also going to get into the NFL news that you need to know. There's been some things that happened today that, yeah, not Raiders related, but it is around the National Football League. Then I got an entire segment around Tyree Wilson on some notes that I've been given, and we've been saying for a long, long time, especially Chugs, that Tyree Wilson's going to have himself a hell of a year. I put together a show to really illustrate that. Then the final segment on today's show is going to be a mailbag, so use hashtag Raiders, or you can super chat to skip the line and get those questions here on the show. All right, here's my first question, everybody. If you want to shout out, show a bit of love to Trzy Trace. What up, Trace?
Raiders! Let's go, baby.
Always bringing the energy. My question to the nation out there is, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1, you'd be pissed, 10, you'd be ecstatic. If the Raiders ended up signing Stephon Gilmore, how happy, how excited would you be? I know he's one of the players that we bring up very often. However, there's a lot of other players that we have mentioned. Maybe an Adoree Jackson, maybe an Emmanuel Ogbah, Steven Nelson, a Xavier Howard, right? Like, face it, if the Raiders go out and they sign Gilmore, they're not going to bring in Howard. They're not going to bring in Steven Nelson. And Gilmore, out of all those names, might be the most expensive. He also might be the best from top to bottom. So I'm going to give some shout-outs here. What's up, Graf? Richard Black says 10. Ed Robbins going to go with a 10. No name, no picture, just an 8. Sandra Ortega says 7. What up, EO66 going to go with an 8, 9.5 for Ron Raspberry. Van City Raiders says 10 with a little bit of a chef's kiss. Venthrak, who, Trace, I don't know if you know this, but Venthrak on our shows when we doing the Madden Sims, 4 straight Madden Sims, MVP.
Wow. I mean, I'm not shocked. I've heard some legendary things about Venthrak, so I can't say I'm shocked.
Yeah?
He is a legend from what they say.
From what they say. Ed Robbins had himself a hell of a show this past time. Also, it's a brand new month, brand new June bang race, so that means who's going to be the first person that bangs in the month of June? You will be in first place, and whoever has the most bangs in June, we're going to get you a Raiders Report jersey.
I'll add this. You're in an elite club. You get to bang with me.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people bang with Trzy. A lot of people bang with Jeremy. He loves to bang.
He's
kind of disgusting.
He's got a pretty thick black book.
Oh, yeah.
Jeremy's
very thick.
Jeremy's black book is pretty thick. Then I don't even want to know what mine looks like. Mine's the dictionary at this point.
Mine's literally the Bible, but like triple space, so it's like super
triple
thick.
Space. That's smart. You got to do that in a paper.
100%.
Pro tip: if anybody out there's got to write a paper, and if you need to get that extra like page or two, back in my college days, if we had to write a 10-page paper, I would write like 7.5, 8 pages. You know, I guess now my teachers hear this, probably doesn't really matter. But you go to the periods and you hit replace font with 12 to 14, and it adds like that little bit of space, but on like a 7 to 8 pages. I'm not kidding. You get to like 10 pages.
Interesting. You put a lot of periods in there.
I'm telling you right now.
That's a good idea, man.
And then if you're getting really desperate, do that with apostrophes and commas, and it'll get you to where you need to go.
I had a buddy.
That's Mitch's pro tip of the day.
I had a buddy who changed the spacing because they're like, it needed to be 1.5. He changed it to like 1.65 spacing, so it was like a little bit more. Just a little bit more.
And then you get that extra page. I'm telling you, 60% of the time, it works every time. Let's go to the next question here on the Raiders Report, because the other segment that I'm going to do today is going to be around Tyree Wilson. The Silver and Black drafted him out of Texas Tech, number 7 overall last season, and battled some injuries, didn't really have the year that a lot of people were hoping for. And, I mean, let's face it, for a lot of people amongst the nation, first-round busts have been a common theme. Like, realistically, when a guy gets drafted in the first round anymore, I'm just expecting him to not live up to the hype. I do expect Brock Bowers to have himself a solid season, and I do think Tyree Wilson is going to shock a lot of people amongst the nation, amongst the NFL. So how many sacks will Tyree Wilson have this upcoming season? Also, if you haven't seen it yet, we got a live poll at the very, very top of our live show, which right now it's got 400 votes on it, and I asked how many sacks for Tyree Wilson. 40% of the votes right now say 6 to 7. 35% say 4 to 5. Shug says that he's going to have 8.
I think that 8 is a good number. I was going to say 8 or 9. I like 8. I think 8's a solid number because if you think about it, that would mean that some sacks are being taken away from Maxx Crosby. And I think that he could still have a really, really good season. But I don't know how many he's going to lose to Tyree Wilson is really my thought.
I mean, I'm kind of hoping Maxx doesn't lose any. I'm kind of hoping Maxx continues to climb.
Fair.
I think the one thing that, we always talk about with a guy like Christian Wilkins is he's going to open up a lot of things for a lot of other players. The fact that Wilson has an opportunity to potentially play either between Maxx and Christian Wilkins or, he can play on the other side of Wilkins, and sometimes they're going to line him up as a defensive end, defensive tackle. They're going to put him all over the football field.
Well, that's the beauty of the versatility of both of those guys.
Yeah.
You can line them up and just have your
this
best
guy was
player.
an absolute monster in college, and I know that he struggled last season, but if you need a little bit of hope in where Tyree Wilson could potentially be this season, go watch his film from 2022. Dude was an absolute monster on the football field. I mean, you don't make athletes the way Tyree Wilson is built. If Maxx Crosby had the body that Tyree Wilson did, I think people would talk about Maxx as by far the best defensive end in football. We think that he is already, but I don't know if the rest of the NFL world does. I got some comments coming in here, and again, if you want your questions up here on screen, Trizzy's going to put them up. All you got to do is use hashtag Raiders like Motorcycle Prophet did. Are we going to get a quarterback or hang on our hat on Aidan O'Connell? I don't think it's hanging your hat on Aidan O'Connell. You're hanging your hat on Gardner Minshew and Aidan O'Connell. And it's going to be an open quarterback battle. From what I understand, it's neck and neck right now. Aidan's had some better days. Gardner's had some better days. Both QBs are showing a little bit of promise, but they're also still learning a brand new offense. They're still learning a brand new regime in terms of what maybe Antonio Pierce is looking for, what brand new quarterback coach Rich Scangarillo is looking for. But one of the starting quarterbacks for the Raiders, it's either going to be Aidan O'Connell or Gardner Minshew. They're not going to add another QB because the next question would be, who would they add? The best quarterback on the free agent list right now is Ryan Tannehill. Are you going to pay Ryan Tannehill more money than what you're paying Gardner Minshew? Exactly. The answer to that is no.
Well, it is worth saying also, there will be guys who leave or get cut as roster cuts start happening, so maybe there's a surprise quarterback that gets made available and stuff. But
not your starter.
Yeah, that's kind of, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's going to be Gardner Minshew and Aidan O'Connell. It's not one or the other. I think both of them will start at some point in the season. Also, what's up, Texans versus Basket? He said you need to say what's up back, so what's up, brother?
What's up, Texans?
What's up, brother?
I'll say this also on top of that. I do agree with you where, to me, there will be a point this season where Aidan's going to get a start, Gardner Minshew's going to get a start. The only way that it doesn't happen is if the Raiders come out red hot to get the season rolling. And as much as I want the Raiders to be rolling, they're not a team to me that's going to start out 4-1. A team that's going to start out 5-0. And even if, they start out 3-2, you're not going to switch QBs. Where the quarterback switcheroo would potentially happen is either at your bye week, week 10, or if the team does really struggle early on. So I really hope that there's not a quarterback change. What up, Fraser? How would have you feel if we got Xavier and Adoree? I would be ecstatic if we got just one of these guys. If you get both, I actually don't know if it's the route that I would go because I still want Ja'Cory Bennett, DeCamerion Richardson, some of these younger corners, MJ Devonshire, who the Raiders drafted in the 7th round, to get their footing and to get some reps, get at least just get some play out there. And I do think that Devonshire is going to be used a lot more on special teams this season, especially with the new kick return rules. But I would be really happy with Adoree Jackson. I would be ecstatic with Xavier Howard. Bringing in both, though, I don't think that that's going to happen. I would say the Raiders are only going to bring in one corner on the outside. Yes?
I have a question.
I'm listening.
Would you rather, out of the three, Stephon Gilmore, Xavier Howard, Adoree Jackson, considering how much they're going to cost and the role that they'll play?
I have said Xavier Howard, and the reason why I like Howard is Howard, when he had 15 interceptions, and so he had 10 interceptions one year, 5 the next season.
Yeah.
His DB coach was Gerald Alexander, who's the Raiders safety coach now, so there's a lot of connections there. Also on top of that,
works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Xavier Howard's played with a lot of the players that are on the Raiders. So the Raiders defensive lines, Christian Wilkins, you got Adam Butler and John Jenkins. All three of those guys were on the team when Xavier was there. So, there's a lot of coaching connections. Patrick Graham was the Dolphins' DC in 2019, so there's another connection there. I'm going to bet on the upside of Xavier Howard because I do think the upside of X has got to be just as high as Stephon Gilmore. Now, Gilmore's floor might be a little bit safer, but both players, I think Gilmore gets more than Xavier Howard.
I would agree. I think that I would go Xavier Howard if I'm the Raiders as well.
But the Raiders have the money to pay anyone.
And that's the argument you can make. It's we have enough money to go get the better player, but do you want to be smart and maybe use that closer to the trade deadline or save that just in case there's a player who comes available later in the season?
If I'm the Raiders, I'm saving my money for an outside corner like a Gilmore, like an X. You have the money to pay both. I also want them to go get a defensive end. My number one defensive end that I want them to get is also a former Dolphin, Emmanuel Ogbah. He's got some ties with Rob Leonard, the Raiders defensive line coach from when Leonard was with Miami. But then, if you're Las Vegas, you have enough money to sign both of those players, and then you also have enough money to go out and figure out a contract extension. I think the most likely extension candidate this offseason for the Raiders is Robert Spillane, maybe a Trevon Merrick. I know the nation and myself want Malcolm Kuntz to get extended, but defensive ends, I don't know if Malcolm does it or wants to because he probably is going to bet on himself this year because if he hits the open market, he's going to make much more money on the open market than what he would get in the contract extension this year. Sure. Now, reminder, I know Chugs isn't here, but guess what? We are still going to be doing a duck race, 50-50 raffle, $20 Venmo in order to get in. It's at Mitchell Renz 365. We're going to do this at the very end of the show. Trace actually and I, before the show started, we were trying to figure out, which race to do. Trace has got a really good race picked out today. If you've never seen what a duck race is, honestly, even if you're not a Raider fan, you're going to have a hell of a time.
Oh, they
are an electric factory. So if you want in at Mitchell Renz 365 on Venmo for a chance to win a little bit of money. I know last week.
I also like to think even if you don't buy in, you should stick around and watch because it's have you ever been to those baseball games that the dot races?
Oh yeah.
You're just I'm gonna pick my duck and I'm riding with him and he's gonna win. And it's so much fun. Even if you're not in it, you have to stick around and hang out.
Well, I mean, I just recently found out about the duck races this past year because that's how we settled our fantasy football draft order. Mm-hmm. And since then, I am hooked. It kind of reminds me back in my COVID days when
marble races.
Marble races. That's literally what I was going to say. We would watch marble racing. It's just I needed sports in my life. But the duck race winner from Friday's show, Lord Cameron Abbott, he went home with $540. I don't think that pot's going to be this big today. But you know what? We can still get the pot going a little bit. All right, y'all. My next question before we get into today's live show. Did the Vikings overpay Justin Jefferson? Yes?
You said get the pot going?
Or no? You look like that video you just showed me. Yeah, that video was something else.
That was nuts.
That's a video from Trace in college. And let's just say he wasn't all there.
I was looking in 3 different directions, if that gives anybody some context.
He looked like the guy from the Adam Sandler movie, Mr. Deeds.
Yes!
Who eats the pizza. He's the homeless guy. Yeah, that's something. Give me a yes, give me a no. Did the Vikings overpay Justin Jefferson? If you're like, Mitch, how much was the contract? 4 years, $140 million, $35 million per year. The reason why I wanted to bring it up.
Guaranteed.
$110 guaranteed. So when Devontae got his deal, it was 5 for $140. Jefferson's getting 4 for $140. Adams on average is making about $28 million per year. Jefferson's getting 35. And I'll be real with y'all. I think by the start of week 1 in the NFL season, I don't know if Davante Adams is a top 10 highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. Jamar Chase is going to get one.
Yep. CeeDee's
going to get his. T. Higgins, I think, might be close. I agree. Maybe.
That's a strong maybe.
I think T. Higgins is more in that Nico Collins, Chris Olave area. But, like, to me, by the start of the season, guaranteed, Davante Adams, I'm going to say, is not in the top 8 because of CD and Jamar Chase.
I don't think that's a bad thing either. Like,
I don't disagree.
You don't have to have the top 10 highest paid receiver.
Yep.
If you have a damn good receiver and they're not making top 10 money, that's
my point is it's a good deal. Now, Davante's contract gets very, very pricey next season, and then the year after that. But
I mean, what, like 40, 50
it's going to be 44.1 million. However, though, they can renegotiate the contract, and I could actually see Davante willing to restructure his deal a little bit, which is what most NFL teams do, and they're just going to tack on some void years or something like that to Tay's deal. Yeah. Give me a yes, give me a no. I am seeing a lot of mixed reviews on this one.
I don't think like, I think Justin Jefferson's the best receiver in the league.
Okay.
Like, at least in terms of where his age is at, his skill level. Like,
okay.
I think that there is that's a lot of money to give one player, but the Vikings are also in a luxurious spot where they don't have to pay their quarterback anytime soon. So, like, they can afford to spend a lot of extra money on one player, like, right now.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't know if overpay, but they definitely gave him a lot of freaking money.
No, I don't think to be real with you, I don't think that he did get overpaid. I think Jefferson, I agree with you, is one of the best, if not the best receiver in football. Obviously, I love Davante, and I'll take Tay. Like, in one game, I'll still take Tay. But looking at that contract, if you were to tell me what's the one receiver over the next 4 years I'd be willing to do that for, it probably would be Justin Jefferson.
Shout out Martin's tweet right here.
Martin's a real one.
That's awesome.
Martin's a freaking real one, man.
That's electric.
Let's go to another real one here. What's up, Rebel? My friend Seth, who is a Titans fan, told me, don't get Tannehill since he's the same version as Jimmy G. Get him if AOC and Gardner are out for the season. I'm not going to tell your friend that he's totally wrong, but again, Ryan Tannehill and Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't think are very similar. Tannehill can at least move. Tannehill's a good athlete. Tannehill, when he was in college, played tight end. Imagine Jimmy Garoppolo playing tight end. It would be a broken end. I get the idea that neither quarterback is probably the one that you want, but Tannehill is an upgrade over Jimmy G. But, yeah, I don't want Ryan Tannehill, so I agree with your friend on that.
I will say, Jimmy G's a handsome guy. He's probably played a few tight ends.
Probably. Evil Mitch. Cowboys are in trouble.
F Tom.
Why are the Cowboys in trouble now?
Because they're the Cowboys.
Because they're the Cowboys.
They're the Cowboys. They're in trouble because they're taking the Raiders are getting Stephon Gilmore. They're in trouble.
That'd be elite. Dude, I'd be so happy if we got Stephon Gilmore. Let's go to Black Orchid Wellness. Unlike the Madden sim, we ain't letting blow pass for a touchdown on us. Rated for life. By the way, I insta-DM'd you with a full year prediction. We're going 10-7. My only question is, A, what's your Instagram handle? Because I can look up Black Orchid Wellness. I don't know if you're going to be the person that ends up showing up. And I do have to do a better job of getting through all of my Instagram DMs. I give you guys a lot of credit for sending me a lot of questions. I do try to go through and at least answer a few every single week, but the more and more the show grows, the more DMs I get. So that's why I tell people a lot of times, hit up Jeremy Chugs on Twitter, on IG, at Jeremy Chugs. But 10-7, I like it. And if you haven't seen our Madden simulation of the Raiders-Broncos game, that video did just go out a little bit earlier today on the Raiders Report. All right, y'all, I got 533 people here in the building. Also, Ben Thrack, before I forget, I messaged you on Venmo, and I said, I need your jersey size since you were the MVP for May. I got to get you a jersey, and I'm going to send it out to you. So I just need your whatever jersey size that you would usually wear. Let me know that I can get you a custom jersey, and I can send you one out. Sound good? All right, y'all, let's get into today's show. All right, Ben Thrack saw it. I'll reply tonight at work right now. Fair enough. I respect the I'll reply at work as he's replying in the chat. You know, like, I get it. Hey, it's all good. It's all good. All right, y'all, the first show that we got coming up here today is going to be around Stephon Gilmore, and it's going to be around some NFL news and notes, so just keep that in mind. 2 more segments after that. We got a jam-packed show, and reminder, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365 if you want to get in the duck race. I'll make you a deal. The first person to send me 20, I'm going to give you an extra entry in today's race. Sound good? You good? First one is Prize Picks. Okay. All right, y'all. Here we go. Coming up right now, the latest around the silver and black and the NFL news you need to know. I will. Yep. I'll send it to TV. Sound good? Cool. All right. Let's rock. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up, I got the NFL news that is must-see. NFL news that does impact the silver and black. We'll break it down both ways. Then, the Las Vegas Raiders were linked to Stephon Gilmore. I'll get into the latest around the Raiders free agency rumors that are popping since they just received $24.07 million, thanks to designating Jimmy Garoppolo as a post-June 1st cut candidate. All right, so let's first get into this NFL news, and it's Justin Jefferson got a monster contract extension today. 4 years, $140 million with $110 million guaranteed. The reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I actually had a lot of Raider fans this morning ask me, Mitch, do you think it was an overpay? What are your thoughts? Because remember, the Raiders gave Davante Adams, after they traded for him from the Green Bay Packers back in 2022, a 5-year $140. Jefferson got 4 for $140. So right now, as it stands, Davante Adams is the 6th highest paid wide receiver per year based on the new contracts that the players have been given. And what's kind of funny about this, what's kind of wild, I'm going to say by the start of the regular season, so we already got a few months from now, there is at least a chance that Davante Adams isn't a top 10 highest paid wide receiver. I still think that he's going to be in the top 10, but I guarantee you this, he's not going to be in the top 8. And I found this tweet from Field Yates, and I thought it was kind of interesting because 5 of the 8 highest paid non-quarterbacks are now wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase could jump into the top 5 as well. I'm going to anticipate that both Chase and Lamb, they're going to get deals this offseason, which are going to be more than Davante Adams, which then puts Adams outside of that, top 6, top 7 range. But also, what I think is very interesting is wide receivers continue to get a lot of money. And I always say that the NFL is a copycat league where sometimes people are playing checkers. Well, I'm wondering here if the Raiders are trying to get above the curve here and that they're trying to play a little bit of chess when everybody else is playing checkers. So a few years ago, when the New England Patriots did the whole 2 tight end set, 12 personnel with Gronk and Aaron Hernandez, the entire NFL started to copy it. I'm starting to wonder now if NFL teams see the contracts that wide receivers are getting, if they're going to start to do more 12 personnel, and they might try to copy what the Raiders are doing right now with Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer, because everybody watching the show anticipates that Bowers is going to be this incredible Swiss Army knife. You can line up all over the football field, wide receiver, tight end, and he's going to get a lot of wide receiver reps. But the Raiders are going to pay him like a tight end. And right now, you're looking at the highest paid tight ends in the National Football League, like a Travis Kelce. They're making less than $20 million per year. And then you got a guy like Justin Jefferson making $35. My point is this. I wonder if the Raiders are setting a tone here and they're really trying to do something where instead of paying one guy $35 million like Justin Jefferson, imagine a world where I could pay Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, and another really good receiver like Jacoby Myers less than what I might have to pay a guy like Justin Jefferson. All I'm saying is this 12 personnel, I'm excited to see how it ends up working out. Also, I hate losing, and I hate losing to my rivals, the 49ers report. And in the month of May, the Raiders report had 432 subs. The 49ers report had 453. Well, guess what? I'm battling the Niners report in the month of June. We're doing a sub battle, and I'm not losing to the Bang Bang Gang. So hit that subscribe button. If you dislike, if you can't stand, if you know somebody that screams Bang Bang Niner Gang. It's just saying. It's a weird saying, even this month. Hit that subscribe button. We're taking down the 49ers. The next story coming up here on today's show is going to be around Darren Waller. And is Darren retiring? I'll say this. I was told back on, it was April, 26th, that Darren Waller is retiring. We actually made a show around it. I put it out on Twitter, put it out on social media, and now it's starting to get ramped up again that Waller's considering retiring. As far as I'm concerned, he's been retired since April 26th. I do think it's one of the reasons, though, again, why you hit that subscribe button, why you turn on those notifications. But I wanted to bring this up because it might be, not even it might be, it is a rare win for Josh McDaniels to get this trade right, because when the Raiders made Darren Waller the highest paid tight end in the league, and we know what Waller can be. When he's healthy, when he's motivated, he can be legitimately one of the hardest people to cover in National Football League. He is one of the best tight ends, but he's got the injuries. He's not 100% there, and he hasn't been 100% there, motivated to go out there and do his thing. But when the Raiders traded the third-round pick, ended up getting Trey Tucker, you were able to ditch the contract that Waller had. You're able to add a young speeder receiver, and yeah, you got that third-round pick. So, when I look at this trade, it's no doubt in my mind that the Raiders won the Darren Waller trade by a landslide. Every Giants fan's going to say the same, and this is a proud moment where I get to tell people that thought Darren Waller was going to be that better pick there. I hate to say it, but I told you so. So here's the only time you will ever see me give Josh McDaniels a round of applause. This will be the only time that I'm going to do it. And I think right now, it's an okay thing to do. So I want you to get loud. I want you to spam W for a rare Josh McDaniels win with the Darren Waller trade. Thank you for Trey Tucker. We like him a lot more than we got to deal with all the headaches going on with Darren Waller. A rare win for Josh McDaniels. Spam those W's down below. Coming up next here on the show, Stephon Gilmore has been linked to the Raiders. I'm going to tell you who linked him to the silver and black, what's the latest going on around this situation, because there's going to be lots and lots of rumors around players that the Raiders could sign because of all that extra money they got. I'll also tell you how much money they stand right now in salary cap space. Huge shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks. And even though football season isn't going down, the NBA Finals are here. And I promise you this, every single NBA Finals game, I'm going to go to Prize Picks, and I want you guys to do it too, because they've got specials for new and returning users alike. Just go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, download the app today, and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. My picks for the first game of the NBA Finals, and if you guys want to let me know who you got, Mavs or Celtics, it's been a fun debate here at the Chat Sports Studios. This is what I'm going with for Thursday night's game. I'm going to go with Luka. Give me the more on 30.5 points. He is honestly, arguably the best player in NBA history on the road. I believe he's averaging 35 a night on the road in his playoff career. Daniel Gafford, give me the 6.0 rebounds on the more on that. I really like the way he's been playing. And then Kyrie Irving, 4.5 assists. I almost feel like that's taking candy from a baby, and I love going more on all of these picks for this Mavs and Celtics basketball game. So again, if you want to get started, Prize Picks is simple. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get started now if you haven't already at prizepicks.com/CLNS and get a first-time deposit match of $100. prizepicks.com/CLNS. Pick more, pick less. It's really that easy. All right, so let's get in here to this around Stephon Gilmore being linked to the silver and black, because I told y'all, as soon as the Raiders get this extra money from Jimmy Garoppolo, all these big-name free agents are going to be linked to our team because of the money that we have. So in terms of Gilmore and what exactly he brings to the silver and black, I have said for a long time that I like Stephon Gilmore. I think that he would be a really, really good fit here with the Las Vegas Raiders. And Bleacher Report, they agree. They released an article, 6 post-June 1st moves that NFL teams should make before training camp. The prediction that they had was that the Las Vegas Raiders were going to sign Gilmore. The Raiders just received $24.07 million. $24.07 million from cutting Jimmy Garoppolo. So now they're somewhere around $34.1 million, according to Over the Cap, which is the sixth most in the NFL. I thought that they were going to be a little bit closer to 41. They might have reworked some other contracts in there. And I always say this is not the math report. I will report whatever Over the Cap has. But the Raiders for a long time have been looking for that true cornerback one. Hell, Antonio Pierce this offseason said he called it a priority. So if you're going to call something a priority, good way to do that is put your money where your mouth is. So let me know down below, type sign, or I want you to type pass. Should the Raiders sign Stephon Gilmore? Now, the reason why I'm going to say this is because there's a lot of other free agents that you could look at. Also, this is going to cost some money. Out of all the free agent corners on the market, the one that's going to cost the most to me is Gilmore. I think he's going to cost more than Xavier Howard. He's going to cost more than Steven Nelson. And at somebody who's about to turn 34 years old on September 19th, are you signing him or are you passing? Let me know your answer down below. My answer on Gilmore is the only player that I'd be willing to sign over him is Xavier Howard. And if you want to go check out my free agent rankings, all I want you to do for those of you watching live, unfortunately it won't be there yet. If you're not watching this live though, you're going to be able to click on this button right here. My top 10 NFL free agent targets post June 1st that the Raiders could go out and acquire with all that extra money. In terms of why Bleacher Report linked the veteran corner to Las Vegas, here's what they had to say. Stephon Gilmore is still a free agent and made only $10 million per season on his last contract, so he's likely willing to sign for a reasonable deal. The Silver and Black could use Gilmore to fortify their defense. Jack Jones is currently expected to be the Raiders' top outside cornerback this fall, but he's made only 5 career starts heading into his third NFL season. On the other side, second-year pro Jacorian Bennett and 6-year veteran Brandon Faison are the leading candidates to win the starting job. Bennett was a first stringer at the beginning of last year, but played his way onto the bench, while Faison was injured for most of the campaign and played in only 3 games with 0 starts. The latter has already been mostly a backup throughout his career, so there's an opportunity for Gilmore to have a significant role in Las Vegas. Most of the Raiders' corners are still on their rookie contracts, so the meeting room could benefit from having a former defensive player of the year in it. And I agree, right? This is no surprise to anybody that's watched this show. The only spot that I'm going to disagree a little bit with what Bleacher Report said is they're only saying Jacorian Bennett, Brandon Faison. I think that's them not fully doing their homework, which is, going to happen from time to time with Bleacher Report. They're going to give you the surface level stuff, right? The reason why you watch the Raiders Report is because I'm going to mention DeCamerion Richardson. And I don't think it's fair to totally keep out MJ Devonshire either. Both long, lanky corners that I know for a fact that this organization has been impressed with for what they've been able to do at Raiders OTAs. Now, the Raiders obviously want to find long, lanky corners to also help on special teams, which maybe is a reason why they did go out and draft Richardson and Devonshire. But this is a wide open cornerback room that can quickly be shut if you go out and you sign a guy like Stephon Gilmore. Look at this cornerback room if you add somebody like Stephon. You have Nate Hobbs playing in the slot. You're going to have Jack Jones on the outside. And Jack Jones might be the most confident player on the Raiders roster right now, not named Maxx Crosby. Imagine how confident he would be with Gilmore if Gilmore's going to go on an island. Adding a player like Stephon can only make this defense better. And if you really want to truly have a defense that has the potential to win you a Super Bowl, you need to add a player like Stephon Gilmore. Should the Raiders sign or pass on Stephon Gilmore? I'm going to let
sign.
Yeah, I'm going to let Trace hold it down here for a second. I'm going to swap out my jerseys, get you guys a new one, new segment coming up there. And after this, if anybody wants, again, hashtag Raiders or Super Chat, get those questions, comments on the show. We got a few Super Chats to roll through as well.
So what do you guys think? Giving shout outs to anybody who shares their thoughts. I see Ryan saying sign, Sandra says sign, Cloud says sign, TMG says pass, so does RJ Paradise. Azul says, why does Chugs look different? Well, I got less handsome. Unfortunately, I got less handsome. Blame it on Danny. I don't know what to tell you. Just kidding. Love Danny and Chugs. Cloud says sign. Scott says sign. Charlie says sign. I agree. I'm going to say sign Stephon Gilmore. I think he'd be a really good fit for the Raiders defense. I really like what they have defensively. But I think Stephon Gilmore could just be that insurance policy, that safety blanket. I think that he could be a really good addition to the roster. And to be honest, it's not like I think the Raiders need the help, but like, well, injuries happen and things change. Like, what's the point of not bringing in a player if you have the money to spend anyway? But we're going to hit some super chats here in a second. I see James saying pass. TMG says guys too old. Trouble Nation says sign. There you go.
He is old. I'm not going to lie to y'all. He is old. He is almost 34 years old. But I feel like we're getting into the same trap that we fell in when the Raiders signed Casey Hayward. And I stepped up on the show and I was like, the Raiders are young. They could use a veteran. Hayward came in and was a Pro Bowler. Now, it was a different defense, and he was the perfect fit for a Gus Bradley defense, a defense that he's played multiple times before. But, there is that part of me that wonders, could you bring in a veteran like that that's still playing at a very high level? Like, it's not like Gilmore's fallen off. Like, Gilmore was still a top 15 corner last year.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue outside of the top 15.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's why I'm like, I think he's good. What up, Can't Walk? On the tail end of my graduation celebration, let's sign some new players. Can't Walk, Carl, I was on your IG, and for those of you that don't know, one of the most inspirational people that you would ever meet is Carl. I'll let him tell the story if he wants to down in the comments section. Had the opportunity to meet Carl in San Diego back in 2019, right? We went out and had some beers, and he just graduated. Unbelievable. He got his diploma. Super happy to see him. If you guys haven't, spam some K's down below to show Carl Can't Walk a little bit of love. But, I mean, somebody that every time I talk to him always has a smile on his face, and I mean it. Carl, you honestly inspire me anytime that I think I'm having a rough day. I'm like, you know what? Carl smiles every damn day, and that pushes me to go a little bit harder each and every day. So believe me when I tell you, you're a very inspirational person, dude.
Shout out, Carl.
What up, Jason? James Jones. It's me, Faree, RJ Paradise, all showing Carl some love. PG. All right, RE. Wide receiver pay. What would the rankings be if accounting for tax rate for each player?
Yeah, that's a question for Charles Schwab, not us.
I'm just going to, dude, I have no idea. And even if I gave you an answer, I wouldn't believe myself. So, I'm telling you right now, if I was watching the Raiders report and Trace and I gave that answer, I would be mad at you for believing it because I have no idea.
I was going to say, we could try, and it would just be horrendous.
That's a Robert Jansen question. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Accounting, taxes, but back to the Raiders getting all this extra money post June 1st. Another reason why they're a team that continuously gets linked is because if you were a player that's willing to take a 1-year prove-it deal that's maybe a little bit cheaper, maybe there's some incentives in there, why would you not want to sign with a team like the Raiders that the taxes are not going to be even close?
Yeah.
Like, if you went to California compared to playing for the Raiders, if you were to be a guy like Stephon Gilmore and make $10 million, you'd probably lose $2 million in taxes alone.
Probably.
Again, not a math guy. That's my guess. What's up, Noah Santana? Yo, it's my shirt. You're right. So the Santana swab shirt is for Noah. And again, I just got a bunch of jerseys. And funny, Rick messaged me at the end of Friday's show, and he was like, dude, when are you wearing my jersey? I just got a bunch of them. You guys can yell at Ventrac because I've been rocking Ventrac's jersey so much. But he's the MVP. He deserves it as far as I'm concerned. I lost my headphone. I'm going to have to go buy some real quick to listen. I'm at work like always. Hey, there's nothing wrong with being at work, listening to the show. There's a lot of times where if I'm doing things around my house, I'm still talking. I just got to tie my shoe. But, a lot of times I'm doing stuff around the house and I'll be tuned into Wasted, Graph, and just listen to their show. I have been trying to listen to more Raiders podcasts in general, just more shows, just to see, what other people around Raider Nation are talking about, because believe it or not, I do really care about that. But believe me when I get it. I listen to a lot of podcasts myself. You got to get yourself some headphones. Let's go to
Excavator.
I like it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
This guy is a little exca. Would you have Laube on Dynasty Fantasy Football?
Yes, draft him and put him on your taxi squad.
So it's funny enough, for those of you that don't know, I used to do a lot of fantasy football stuff, and I used to be the start-sit guy for Fantasy Pros. I used to write for the Fantasy Footballers, and one of the guys from the Footballers the other day, they're my good friends, and they hit me up, and they were like, so what do you think about Zamir White? And I gave him a full breakdown on White, and then I said, for anybody that does Dynasty Fantasy Football, especially in a PPR league, I think Laube is somebody that I would take with potentially my last pick because he's not going to get drafted. I would guess, depending on how deep your Dynasty draft is, Laube is going to be a sneaky player. I'm telling you all that right now.
We have a 10-person league, and in mine, he got taken in the 3rd round.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was only 6 rounds because we're only drafting rookies or whatever, but he was taken in the 3rd round, about halfway, like literally kind of like right in the dead center of it. I was going to take him.
Yes.
I was going to take him in the 4th, but I was like, that might be a reach because I don't think any of these guys know who Dylan Laube is.
I will say this: I don't pay nearly enough attention to Dynasty fantasy football anymore, just because I do Raiders and season-long stuff for fantasy football. But if he is being drafted in PPR leagues, I tell you this: I would try to target him because. Yeah. As much as we like Zamir White, as much as we like Alexander Madison, Amir Abdullah, I mean, those guys don't have any financial background to say, like, Laube can't get on the field, right? Where some running backs, teams stick with them because financially they're kind of forced to stick with them. The Raiders aren't in that situation. And the Raiders have also said that they're not afraid to go with a hot hand approach or running back by committee. If he's the best guy in that group and gives you the most versatility,
I would avoid.
He could be good.
I would avoid Laube if it's like a regular season, just 1 year.
Correct.
I would avoid him in that sense. But if it's Dynasty, there's no reason not to take him because you can bench him for a year and let your starters take over.
Fair enough. All right, y'all. Reminder: $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365. Whoever sends me the first one, you're going to get 2 entries into our race. Which right now I am shocked by this.
No entries?
I only have one.
Really?
I only have one entry, and it's Jason G. So, Jason G, you're getting another entry. And then I see Charles G. I guess all the G's are getting in. We got 3 people in. As it stands right now, $20 Venmo. You'd have the chance to win $30 as of right now. What up, Adam? Hey, Mitch and Trace. Baby almost due. I have my girlfriend's son send you guys a photo of her in that Raiders gear. If you're going to send anything, Adam, you can still send it to Chugs, and I'll have him, because he'll be back tomorrow, and we'll be able to get him up on the show. If you want the picture that you have, though, now, I would say give Trace a follow on Twitter. Your link is at the very top of the doc in case something like this happens.
It's also about to be on the bottom of the screen.
It's also on the bottom of the screen, but if you guys want to give Trace a follow on Twitter, and usually I'll say, like, hey, send the picture to Trace, then he can put it up on the show, or hey, send it to Chugs, that way he can get it. If you want to send that picture that you're talking about to Trace at his Twitter below, which, again, we also have the link for you. Well, I think you just put it in the comments. You click on that. If you want that picture up on the show, just send it to Trace, DM him, give him a follow. He'll be able to do that. So as long as it's not like I've had somebody before, and maybe it's TMI, send me a picture, which personally in real life, I don't care, especially if it's, your significant other. We can't have any like baby on a boob pic.
Yeah. Has to be
like it
has to be PG.
Yeah.
It basically has to be PG for YouTube.
I know, like I've had the guy was like, well, I sent it to you, and I was like, yeah, I get it, but I got to say that now, just because it's got a baby in it, I can't always show it. If it's baby on a boob, I can't put it on.
Sorry, boob babies.
I'm just letting you know. All right, y'all, we got 650 people. Next segment coming up here on the show is going to be around Tyree Wilson. James Guevara, happy Monday, Mitch. And I'll let you read it if you see it. Walmart version Chugs.
Hey, I'm not the great value. I'm the Dr. Thunder version of Chugs.
Dr. Thunder, Mellow Yellow, Dr. Pibb.
Yep. I'm not the great value. I'm like the dollar store version. Like the 5 and below.
The dollar store.
Dollar General?
Yep.
I was like in between the two, and neither of them really came out.
I've always said Trace is the dollar stool.
Hey,
that's
how it be.
Sometimes that's the way that it is. Guevara, always down for a good time on a Monday. Shout out to him for pulling up here on the Raiders Report. My guy Carl said, you know what, Mitch? Put me in that race. Carl, you're in. And then I also see Keith Crego. You're in. So right now, $20 Venmo. The next person that gets in, you'll have a chance to win $60 here on the Raiders Report. We're going to do that at the very, very end of today's show. All right, the next one's coming up here is going to be around Tyree Wilson. And I'll tell you what, I got high hopes, high expectations for Mr. Wilson. You ready? I almost said Chugs. You ready? Y'all are tricking me right now, man. Y'all are tricking me. All right.
James said the Salvation Army. I think that's am I the Salvation Army, Jeremy? Is that what that means?
I'll tell you what, I went to the Goodwill after my haircut on Saturday, and where I get my haircut, the Goodwill there's a lot of good stuff.
In college, when I would go to the Goodwill, because a lot of people at the end of the summer would take their stuff and just drop it off there because they don't want to take clothes and they would take it home. I came home with a bunch of Nike polos and jackets, seriously nice stuff. So if you're in a college town, hit up Goodwill.
I'm telling you right now, because of the area that we live in with SMU being there, the Goodwill, you know where the coffee shop Toasted is? The Goodwill right next to that, unbelievable. So I went there because the guy who cuts my hair, he watches the show all the time, diehard Raider fan, and it's not diehard Raider fan, but he's a diehard Raider fan, and he's like, yeah, dude, I literally went there the other day, got a full, I forget what brand he said golf clubs he got, $40 for a nice set of golf clubs.
I mean, that's less than one entire club.
That's
at
unbelievable.
Store.
He's like, yeah, I got a new pair of golf clubs for $40. I'm like, what'd you do? Rob a guy on the golf course and throw him $40? But I went there, unbelievable stuff. So, fun fact if you're ever in Dallas. I see more super chats that we just got. We will get to those after this next segment here on the show, so just check that out, okay? We're going to get to it after the show on the Raiders Report. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up, Tyree Wilson will shock Raider Nation and the NFL world in 2024. And on today's show, I'm going to tell you why. If you don't believe in the second-year, first-round pick out of Texas Tech, now's the time to start buying in, because this is going to be a stock that's going to rise. And I don't want you to miss this opportunity to buy this stock right now. So the reason why I'm so confident in Tyree Wilson is because this was a player that I was actually excited when the Raiders drafted him. It was not the pick that we thought. We thought that this team was going to go in a little bit of a different direction, but Wilson was a top 10 overall prospect, and he had a short end of the stick and honestly got really unlucky last situation from injuries and the situation that he was thrown in. So if you're with me on the idea that Tyree is going to have a hell of a year, that he's going to shock the NFL world, I want you to hit that subscribe button. On top of that, you probably haven't seen all the OTA news that we've been keeping you up to date on. Turn on your notification bell by clicking the bell, hit all. That way, every time I drop a video, it's like a booty call. You get it right on your cell phone, and you can check out the vids ASAP Rocky. So coming up here, why Tyree Wilson is going to shock the world, because people don't understand how just naturally gifted Wilson is. And if he's able to take that next step, look out, because this defense can be spectacular. This defense could be the best defense in the NFL if Tyree Wilson does what I'm hoping that he does on today's show. So the first reason why I believe that he's going to shock the NFL is he's healthy this offseason. Being a rookie in the NFL is tough enough. Being an injured rookie with Josh McDaniels as your head coach, I don't know if it could be any more difficult. He's got a brand new head coach. He's got a brand new foot, essentially, because Wilson was dealing with the Liz Frank from last offseason. He stopped playing, I want to say it was November 1st. He had his injury playing at Texas Tech, was only able to go for 10 games during college football. Then was rehabbing, getting back into, in the swing of things, if you will. And now the fact that he's getting those practice reps, he's impressing during OTAs, and instead of rehabbing, Think about all the times he was just rehabbing last season instead of working with the defense that he was going to play in. And the Raiders, they wanted him to rehab because the plan was not to put him on the football field week 1. They were hoping Chandler Jones wasn't going to go clinically insane. Now the fact that he's not rehabbing and he's able to get out there on the practice field and get some actual reps in, that's really going to help his development, and it's going to help him have a better football year coming up because he's actually getting out there and getting the reps. And Wilson, he even spoke about this recently at Raiders practice about last offseason. He said, I was definitely playing catch-up. I was still limited in the movement just because of the foot. I mean, I feel like it starts off the field, which was one of the things that, Tyree said just in terms of like, he's got to be better not only on the field, he's got to be better off the field as well, which is one of the things that we'll talk about here in just a moment on the Raiders Report, because for Wilson, this is something that Maxx Crosby has really helped him out with of, I get it. On paper, they don't make human beings like Tyree Wilson. But if he's able to take that next step and put it together up here, that's really going to help him transcend his football game. So Tyree, in terms of him being healthier, I mean, I feel like it starts off the field. You've got to have good weight, good eating habits, sleeping habits to be the best on the field. I learned that from a leader in the room. And the leader in the room that he's talking about is Maxx Crosby. And we'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit here on the Raiders Report. Now, when it comes to Tyree Wilson, I think he is a phenomenal football player from top to bottom. Sure, did struggle a little bit, but as the season went on, he got better, able to play defensive tackle, able to play defensive end. My question to all of you out there is this, and this is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. How many sacks will Tyree Wilson have this upcoming season? Year 2 with PG, with Antonio Pierce. How many sacks for Tyree Wilson this upcoming season? My magic number for Wilson is 7. And I think if he can get to the 7-sack number, that this is a really good step in the right direction. I will say if he plays more defensive end, that number might go up a little bit. If he plays more interior defensive tackle, I do think that number is going to go down. I see him doing probably like 65% on the outside, 35% on the inside at DT. Coming up next here, I got more reasons of why Wilson's going to shock the NFL world. And to be honest, this is where the show I think is going to get a little bit juicy. Got a lot of really fun stats. I got a lot of things that are going to back up my argument here. But remember, Father's Day, y'all, it's right around the corner. And I think shopping for dad can be difficult because, I don't know about y'all, when I ask my dad, what do you want for Father's Day? He doesn't give me an answer. He's like, I don't need that kind of stuff. Don't worry about me. Worry about you, Mitch. And I respect the hell out of it, but he's also my best friend, right? So if you want to get your dad something special for Father's Day, you can go to chatsports.com/RaidersDad. I'll also say this. I made a special link out there for all the dads. Now, only if you're watching this live, it's the only way that you're going to be able to see it. And I'm going to put this for y'all down in the comments section right now. If you go to chatsports.com/RaidersDilf, only for the Dilfs out there, you can also get yourself something special for Father's Day. I'm just saying, if you need to get something special, chatsports.com/RaidersDad, also chatsports.com/RaidersDilf. Just saying, get yourself something special. Let's go to the next reason here of why I think Tyree's going to shock the world. Dude's an athletic freak. Maxx Crosby is a great athlete, and we always talk about, the Condor and his wingspan, 81-inch wingspan. Tyree Wilson has an 86-inch wingspan. My guys that were at the NFL Combine last year were like, you don't understand how big of a human being Tyree Wilson is. Then Chugs and I on, I forget where we were going. We were going to the Super Bowl. That's what it was. Super Bowl weekend. We run into Tyree Wilson. We were getting ready to go out there for media day, and just looking at him in person, guys, I'm telling you right now, you just don't realize how gigantic, how thick, giggity, how long arms. He just doesn't look like a normal human being. He looks like something where you're like, that looks like a creative player from a different world. He is a different type of athlete. And Lance Zierlein is one of my favorite NFL draft analysts out there. And I bring him up a lot in April and March, right before the NFL draft. But let's not forget that Tyree was one of the best players in the NFL draft back in 2023. And people were talking about him in just like a superhuman type of way. I mean, this is what Lance Zierlein, one of the best in the biz, had to say about Tyree Wilson before he was drafted by the Raiders. long-limbed defender who figures to turn into a full-blown nightmare for opponents if he continues to grow into both his frame and his game. Wilson's combination of traits and athleticism should yield flashes of dominant play in both phases as he continues to get bigger and stronger. His length and lateral quickness are ingredients for chaos as a backside run game disruptor. He's capable of ranging and tackling from distance if the run flows wide. On the flip side, he's not very instinctive as a run defender, and his play demeanor can stand to be a little thornier when attacking blocks. Wilson has the physical tools to create pocket push as a power rusher early on, but the hand usage and rush play will need tutoring for him to become a well-rounded two-way rusher. He might not set the world on fire in year one, but the talent and vaulted ceiling will be easy to see soon enough. Now, I agree with everything Zerloin said because I sat up here on the show and I said, Tyree Wilson's going to struggle in year one. He's not 100% healthy. He's going to need some time to really ramp up and get to where he's going. And you saw it at the end of last season. But, look at these numbers from his final 2 years in college. And the 2021 numbers are impressive. In 13 games played, 38 tackles, 13.5 tackles for loss, 7 sacks. In 10 games in the Big 12 with the Texas Tech Red Raiders, 61 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 7 sacks. My point is, I know that he struggled last season, but I can look at all of you in the eyes, and I'm confidently saying that he's going to shock the NFL world this season because I don't think that you, and I don't want to say you, but I don't think that the nation's giving him a fair stick because the route he had to travel last year with all the rehabbing, getting back into shape, the Chandler Jones situation, the Josh McDaniels situation, it all was adding up to go against Tyree Wilson. Now he's in a brand new regime, entering his second year in the NFL, entering his second year with Patrick Graham, second year with Antonio Pierce. Look out for what the Tyree Dactyl's going to do. And if you believe in number 9, if you believe in Tyree Wilson, I want you to click that like button right now. Wilson's one of the players that I try to speak to on a monthly basis from the nation. He's, has worked out a little bit down here in Dallas. I know his agent is very close to where we are here at Chat Sports. I'm going to send this video to Tyree, and I want you to go out and show some love because for a young man who confidence is everything, he wants the nation to have his back. That I can promise you. Smash that like button. Let's get some confidence going for the Tyree Dactyl. Let's go to the other reason here of why I think Tyree's going to shock the NFL. Entering year 2 in the NFL is really important with the Antonio Pierce and Patrick Graham. Who out there thinks that Patrick Graham is a good defensive coordinator? I know I do. How many people out there think that Antonio Pierce is a better head coach than Josh McDaniels? I know I do. How many people out there have confidence in Rob Leonard? Because Rob Leonard is one of the best in the biz. I know that I do. Think about the leaps forward that Trevon Merrick made. I know it says year 2, but I'm talking more year 2 in Patrick Graham. Year 2 in the NFL is important, but year 2 with Patrick Graham is very important. Trevon Merrick, huge step. Malcolm Kuntz, huge step forward. It does not surprise me that these players, as soon as they get into that second year in that regime, they start to understand the defense a little bit more. And for a guy like Wilson, that's important. He needs to stop thinking and going out there and being an athlete because that's the difference between a sack and then just letting a guy go by. Watch Wilson and see what he does. This is what Wilson had to say on year 2. This year, I slowed back down, started taking the coaching, and just come out here and work. You gain respect by the actions that you put in, and it's just really helped me take more steps up this year. Wilson is taking steps in the right direction. He's not only maturing as an NFL player, but he's also maturing in his job, in his process. Think about how good you were at your job last year, and now think about how much better you are at it this season. Everything goes into it. Learning the new playbook, learning the eating habits, learning just everything that goes into being an NFL player. It just cannot be stated enough. And the fact that he's going into year 2 and you're already seeing it looks a lot better according to OTAs. Let's go to the next reason here. And this one's not so much to do with Wilson, but it's to do with everybody else around him. The Raiders have an unbelievably talented defensive line. They also have an unbelievably talented defensive coaching staff. But if the Raiders throw out a starting lineup right now, Maxx Crosby, Christian Wilkins, Tyree Wilson, Malcolm Kuntz, I think that the last guy that the offensive coordinator is worried about is Tyree Wilson. So all I see all year long for Wilson is one-on-one matchups because if you double up Tyree Wilson, that means then either Christian Wilkins, Maxx Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz, or I don't know if there's another player on your defensive line. Maybe it's an Adam Butler. Maybe it's a John Jenkins. They're going to get the one-on-one matchup. Wilson's going to get the one-on-one matchups because of this Raiders' talented defensive line. And when you look at the DTs, like Christian Wilkins is a big body guy. John Jenkins is a big body guy. Those are going to be the two guys that eat up more double teams. And then you got Adam Butler on the interior, which is going to help Tyree get some reps from time to time on the inside. But the only way that I think he really truly goes from being a household name amongst the NFL world is if he can get it done on the outside. And he's still going to get his opportunities. Like Malcolm Kuntz to me is still going to be that number one edge rusher as long as well as Maxx Crosby. But outside of Tyree Wilson, there's nobody else that I have any confidence in that defensive line room. So he's going to get reps, he's going to get his opportunities, and he's going to go out there and do a bunch of different things for this organization. And I'm telling y'all, buy in right now because the train is going to leave the station very quick. The final reason is he's been working with Maxx Crosby all offseason. And, I've had the opportunity to speak with Maxx. I've had the opportunity to talk to Tyree. And, everything that Lance Zierlein said, everything that we see, that we believe is Tyree Wilson is this, unhuman, athletic freak. And if he could put it together, and if he puts together a working regimen like Maxx Crosby, even Maxx knows that Wilson's upside is disgustingly high, and Maxx has been working with him a lot. And let's face it, if Tyree Wilson can't get motivated with what Maxx is telling him to do, then he's just never going to get motivated. I'm telling you right now, Tyree, this is your season to prove it. And if you can't get it done this season, that seat might get a little bit hotter and hotter depending on what happens with Malcolm Kuntz. But this is what Mad Max had to say about Wilson. And you know what? I don't think Crosby's the type of guy that just blows smoke for no reason. His entire career, he has not been able to tell people the truth. And he's telling the truth right here. I'm always on him because I want what's best for him. When you're a rookie, you don't truly know anything. You're just trying to learn and absorb as much information as you possibly can and put yourself in the best position to succeed. And if you don't have a blueprint, you are lost. When I was young, I was literally relying off just playing my ass off and not quitting on anything. That was my niche. I would just make plays, get sacks just by effort alone. A guy like Tyree, he's got all the tools and intangibles and everything like that. But for him, it's just about being consistent. It sounds like cliche bullshit, but at the end of the day, you've got to show up every single day, put the work in, and I feel like he's in a good spot right now. He's got a ton of room to grow. He knows that, and he's just got to go showing up. Be constantly curious. If you're like that, you're going to give yourself the best chance to have success in this league. So, you've already heard Tyree Wilson say, he's trying to get better off the field with, what he's eating. He's trying to work out more. And I do think, there's that time in every athlete's life where, Tyree's probably been that guy that he's just shown up and he's just always been the best. He's always been the most athletic. And it's a little bit of a realization standpoint. We're like, wow, not the best anymore. And I have to put in that extra time. But I'm so confident that he's going to shock the world because he is that physically gifted monster. He is a lot mentally stronger. He's putting his body in a much better situation off the field so he succeeds on the field. He's working with Maxx Crosby, for the love of God, to take that next step. And then I believe in Antonio Pierce, Patrick Graham, Rob Leonard, this Raiders defensive line, where Tyree Wilson is going to shock the NFL world. And you all need to jump on board right now because the hype train is leaving station. Oh, man. Today, Trzy Trace is National Egg Day.
Mitchy Mitch.
What's better on a breakfast sandwich? So, if I'm eating a breakfast sandwich, I'm going to paint this picture. I'm going to go with a bagel because this is how I like it. Bagel, you could get any cheese that you want. Egg, and then, are you going with bacon or are you going to go with sausage?
I'm going to
bacon
go
or sausage?
And I have a reasoning for it. I love bacon.
Okay.
But here's my thing. It's tough to find a place that's going to make, a lot of restaurants don't have good bacon. So that's one thing for me.
Okay.
And two, I'm kind of a cheapskate and I'm kind of a fat ass. So when you get the sausage patty, you get more meat, thus more food, thus more bang for your buck. So that's my whole reasoning as to why I go sausage.
Okay.
But I do love bacon. I just think on a sandwich, I'm going sausage.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely change. I go back and forth. And maybe this wasn't the best question to ask. On a bagel, if it's an everything bagel, I'm actually a big bacon guy.
Interesting.
If I get an English muffin, I like sausage.
I love, like, a biscuit, I think it's got to be sausage. English muffin has to be sausage. I actually was, when you were like bagel, I was like, I could go bacon on a bagel. Like, I could go either way on it.
Everything bagel. What's the best bagel out there? If you're going to have,
I love a good everything
if you're
bagel.
getting an egg sandwich in the morning.
I love an everything bagel. Everything bagels are just, if it ain't broke, so you don't got to fix it.
I'm me for belief says meat in whole. Yep. Can I get both bacon and sausage? That's what I'd want to know.
Well, you would have to pay an extra $1.25 for the bacon.
F it. Give me the guac. Give me the guac. All right, I got one more jersey I got to put on here, and I'm just going to tell the person that I'm going to put this jersey on for, I'm not doing a boot. If you do bang, I will give you 3 bangs towards our June bang race. It's the first time I've worn this jersey. They're very excited about it, so I just got to throw that one out there into the universe. Trace, give me a few minutes. Not even a few minutes. Give me a few seconds.
You're good, brother. What do you guys think?
Yolk
or no yolk? Yeah, yolk or no yolk? I mean, I like to think I'm yolked. It's like stole. It's yolked. That's a lot of swine from Patrick. Bacon, sausage, ham from Sean. Billy likes sausage. It's also National Milk and Bike Day. It's a good thing we're doing motorbikes. Bike Day. Then Thrak doesn't eat eggs. So, fun fact. Huh? Really?
My mom doesn't like eggs. I think actually one of the reasons why I'm good at making, which breakfast is, I think, the easiest meal, obviously, to make. But I do think that there is an art to making like good breakfast sandwiches and stuff. And I think I'm very good at making breakfast because my mom didn't like eggs.
So you had to learn how to make them.
So I had to learn how to make eggs, and I'm also I'm pretty damn good at making French toast because that's my mom's favorite.
Yeah.
So as a kid when I was growing up, yeah,
So
you gotta show out for mom.
I'm gonna put no doubt. I'm gonna put my girlfriend Maddie on the spotlight for a second.
Uh-oh.
So she's from Alabama. So I guess it's a thing out in Alabama. You put a little bit of vanilla extract in your eggs. Like before you cook them, like when you're mixing them together, put a little bit of vanilla extract in there. It gets a little sweet. Dude, the first time she did it, I was like, that's not going to be good. There's just no way. It's unbelievable. It's actually insane. I
mean, I will have to try it because Alex kind of hates that I do this now, but you've got me hooked on this. So I don't even know how many months ago it was. I don't even remember what movie we saw. I went over to Trace's.
Was it the Hunger Games?
The new Hunger Games movie. I took Alex over. We had like a little double date at Trace's, and I took Chuck over, and we were watching the movie. And Trace made me popcorn with cheese on it.
Put a little shredded cheese on there,
dude. I'm telling you right now,
it's incredible.
I can't eat popcorn without cheese now.
My dad started that, and I'm like, it has to be on there.
I can't do it. So even. I mean,
I
ran out of string cheese, what was it, 2-3 days ago, and I put Parmesan because I was just like, I can't eat plain popcorn.
I need it.
Unbelievable. If you guys have never tried it, put string cheese, not string cheese.
Like shredded cheese.
Shredded cheese on your popcorn.
The Fiesta blend is a good one to throw on there.
Oh, dude,
it's
a problem.
It's unreal, dude.
It's actually a problem.
A lot of people are saying that's gross. Don't knock it till you try it.
I said the same thing. Because he goes, I put cheese on your popcorn. And I was like,
why?
Electric. I'm telling you right now, I want you to try it during the week. I'm going to come back from my buddy's bachelor party on Monday. And I'm just, I need honest opinions. It's good, dude. It really is.
Another pro tip, throw a little Cajun seasoning if you got some on there. Adds a little spice, a little salt. Oh.
Trace puts Cajun on his toothbrush. So
I literally brush my teeth with Tony's.
Yep.
Tony Satch.
I probably could.
On the toothbrush.
It's my cholesterol. I've I've been told is high. I'm gonna blame it on Tony.
Son of a bitch.
I'm gonna blame it a little bit on Tony.
Son of a gun.
All right,
Tony,
y'all. What were you gonna say?
You son of a gun.
You son of a gun, Tony. All right, y'all, $20 Venmo, again, to get in on this duck race action. Right now, $20 Venmo, you would win $50 here on the Raiders Report. I do got a super chat. This one's coming in from James Guevara, and we'll answer a few more of these, and then I think we can get into our... How about this? We'll do this one real quick, and then you can save all the other ones for the mailbag.
Perfect.
Sounds good?
Perfect.
Happy Monday, Mitch, and Walmart Chugs. What do you think? Walmart chugs.
I saw somebody put in the chat, it's not it's like it's Venthrak. He's sending this super chat right afterwards. I thought it was too good. Mountain Lightning. It's the best knockoff soda. So I'm the Mountain Lightning Jeremy Chugs. I think that's like the Mountain Dew knockoff.
That was my initial.
Dr. Thunder's Mountain Dew is what I think.
Mountain Lightning, yeah. Interesting. Though, when I think of the knockoff Mountain Dew, I think of Mellow Yellow.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought too.
Yeah. Mr. Pibb.
I don't care what people say. I love Pibb. Pibb is awesome.
Yeah.
It's so damn good.
All right, Trace is a Mr. Pibb fan. I just don't know if I am. I don't know if I am. All right, y'all. So for the next 15 minutes, what we're going to be doing here is answering your questions. So I started doing mailbags when we first started doing this show, just to answer as many questions from the nation as I possibly can. So essentially what's going to happen here is I'm going to go through and answer all the questions that I see hashtag Raiders for. If you want to skip the line and get your question guaranteed on the show, super chat, think of it as like Disney Fast Pass. You jump the line and you get on the front. I will say all the questions that are about to come up here, I want to make them like recent, like make them so there's nothing, I don't know. Like, I don't ask me a question about, I'm trying to think of an example. Who? No, I think free agency questions are fine. I think trade questions are fine. OTAs might be the only one, but OTAs will still be going on. So, you know what? I think everything will be okay. I was thinking about when this is going to go out. We should be fine, though. We should be fine. Venthrak. You know what? We can add that one in at the end, too. Yeah, add it in at the end. We're good. All right, here we go. Mailbag time here on the Raiders Report. What's up? No, there's no. The only sponsor is the technically follow me. Yep. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's mailbag time. I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and a friendly reminder that all of these questions that you're about to see were filmed during our live show on June 3rd. I got a bachelor party this weekend, so no live shows on Thursday or Friday this week. I know it's a bummer. You can blame my buddy Dave. Reminder, though, every time that I do a mailbag, if we get 1,000 likes on the video, I'm just going to keep doing them every week. People seem to like them, and if you hit this like button on this mailbag and we get to 1,000 likes, I'm going to do another one next week here on the Raiders Report. Let's go to the first question coming in here from Untouchable Raider 1960. What's up, brother? Mitch, I'm seeing a lot of rumors Howard and Texans have big interest. I think Adoree Jackson more likely to sign with us. His ties with Graham and AP, Raider Nation for life. I actually have seen a lot of the rumors around Xavier Howard. They were even before the NFL draft has happened. Obviously, Chugs is pretty well connected with the Texans as well, so he's been filling me in with both of those. I think, though, between the top two teams to sign Xavier Howard, I will say it's either the Raiders or the Houston Texans from what I hear. And if we got to fall back on Adoree Jackson, I'm okay with it. I'd still rather have Steven Nelson, who was also a former Texan, and I'd also rather have a guy like Stephon Gilmore. Let's go to Logan. What's up, Logan? How are you feeling about the Raiders linebacker room right now? If I had to scale from 1 to 10, 1 being I'm not confident, 10 I am very confident, I'd say it's probably a 6. I like Robert Spillane a lot, solid middle linebacker from top to bottom. I also think that Tommy Eichenberg's going to have a pretty solid year, and because Spillane was such a good fit last season, I think this organization tried to go out and find a very similar comp to Spillane. Diablo needs to be able to stay healthy, hoping that he can do a good job. Amari Burney is someone that I actually think is going to make a bigger impact on special teams. Outside of that, though, Luke Masterson I don't think ends up making this roster. Butler can never stay healthy. I believe that the Raiders end up keeping 4 linebackers on their 53-man roster. Let's go to, wow, what a name, Tony Perkins. And this is like the original, who's like the crazy guy now that never gives up? David Goggins. Tony Perkins was the original David Goggins. Let's just say that. This is actually also one of my favorite movies of all time, so whoever this is, shout out to y'all. Who is a player that we could trade that would be shocking? A shocking player that we could trade? All right, I'm going to go with one that's probably a little bit of an unpopular opinion. But I'm going to go with Trey Tucker, and the reason why I'm going to say Trey Tucker is because he was drafted by last year's regime, okay? So he's got some of the ties to last year's regime. The Raiders went out and they signed Michael Gallup. They signed Jalen Guyton, which, again, if Gallup can stay healthy, he might make a bigger impact than Tucker. But then they also drafted Brock Bowers, which I think is a pretty eye-popping thing. And the Raiders want to run more 12 personnel with like Luke Getsy's system. If the Raiders want to use Tucker, I'm thinking that it's probably going to be a little bit more on special teams than what some people out there think. However, though, if they do plan on playing Devontae, Jacoby, Michael Gallup, and Brock Bowers all over Trey Tucker, that means Tucker is our fifth option from a receiver standpoint, not counting the running backs, not counting the tight end room. So if I got to see how Tucker's being used, but I would say an unpopular opinion would be the Raiders drafted Tucker in the 3rd round, where I thought he'd probably be a 5th-round pick. If a team would be willing to offer you a 5th-rounder right now for Tucker, who knows? Maybe a regime that's not really tied to him would be willing to do it. Let's go with this question. Who's going to make the bigger impact for Tucker? Is he going to make a bigger impact this season with our organization as a wide receiver, or is he going to make a bigger impact as a special teamer? Think of it as like kick returner, punt returner. He was a kick returner back at Cincinnati, and he's got some of that electric speed. Let me know down below what you think. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. Bigger impact for Tucker, wide receiver or special teams this season? I am going to say special teams because I do think that Tucker's impact is not always going to show up on the stat sheet, but I do think that I would use him as like pre-snap motion, use him as a deep threat, use him as a decoy, because you have to be able to respect his speed a little bit. I personally would not trade Trey Tucker. Say that 3 times fast. I do think he's a good player. I would like to use him, but for the sake of the question, that's where I would throw that one in there. Now, here's the thing. If the Raiders do end up trading Tucker, we're going to be going live. We're going to be breaking it all down for you. If you enjoyed today's mailbag, don't be afraid. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on those notifications. And I want to start something new for the Noti gang where I want it to be a race. And I want y'all to see who's coming in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So I put out a video on June 3rd. It was the Raiders, Broncos, Madden Sim. And the people that were the fastest to get in the comments, the people that are part of that Noti gang, are the people that you see up on this list right here. So Jaime, right now king of the Noti gang, shout out to him. If you want to see your name on a future show, here you go. Hit subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. Let's go to the Great Tuna. You both have opinions. Talk DC, Mitch, and Trzy. I'll say this. I think Derek Carr would be, I think he's better than Gardner Minshew. I think Derek Carr is better than Aidan O'Connell. However, though, I'm not going to pay Derek Carr the amount of money than what the Saints did. Good QB. Raiders probably would have been a playoff caliber team last season. They would be a fringe playoff caliber team this year with DC. But, I don't think Derek Carr is going to actually ever win a Super Bowl. And you've already heard some of the rumors around the Saints potentially, looking at a guy like Spencer Rattler. Trace does our Saints show. Trace, if you want to chime in on your honest opinions about DC.
Yeah, I think that Derek Carr could be not in the hot seat, but I think that he has the ability to possibly find himself, in some trouble in the near future. Obviously the Saints have a new offensive coordinator in Clint Kubiak.
Yep.
Pete Carmichael's offense last year, super stale, super boring, statistically the worst offensive coordinator. But that doesn't create excuses for a 10-year vet.
Yeah.
I think that Carr definitely could be better. I think that there's also a ceiling that we know what it is, and it's kind of up to Derek as to how far he wants to go with this Saints team.
My question for you is: the Raiders play the Saints Week 17. What percentage of chance would you give that Derek Carr is the Saints starting quarterback that game?
I think it's 100%.
Okay.
Jake Haener right now has been actually leading the QB2 competition in New Orleans.
Okay.
Spencer Rattler, 5th-round pick. Very high ceiling, but you got to hone that skill set in. So I think that they're going to roll with DC. Plus, he's very healthy, and he's a tough guy. Got to give him that credit. So I think that he will be the starter for that Week 4 matchup.
17.
Week 17. I said Week 4. That's
He's number 4.
Yeah, he's number 4. The Week 17 matchup. That's going to be a fun one, and I think he will be the starter.
All right, let's go to Evil Mitch. I got an Evil Chugs. I guess we need an Evil Trace next. If the 49ers offer a first for Wilson, would you do it? First for Tyree Wilson? Yeah, in a heartbeat. Here's the thing. There's not a single NFL team out there that's going to offer you a first-round pick for Tyree Wilson. I would say the ceiling offer that you would get for Wilson is a third-round pick because that's just, he struggled last season. You got a brand new regime. He's definitely not going to be a buy high candidate. But 49ers, if they offered me a first-round pick, if any NFL team, maybe outside of Kansas, I mean, even if Kansas City offered me a first-round pick, I'd probably figure out a way to take it. Let's go to Jersey Boy. Definitely down with Gilmore, but also sign Ngakoue. The lack of defensive end depth is concerning. I do like Yannick Ngakoue, but I also like Emmanuel Ogbah more, where if I'm going to sign a defensive end, I'd rather go with Ogbah because he's got ties with Rob Leonard. He's got ties with a lot of already these players on this defensive line. So if you wanted to go with somebody who you could probably get for cheaper, I do think Ngakoue would be cheaper than Ogbah. And again, I've been looking for this like Benson Mayowa third down role type of player because Ngakoue's horrific as a run defender. All he can do is get after the QB. So it depends what exactly you're looking for. But to me, with this depth that the Raiders have, I look at this Raiders depth chart and I say we only got 3 defensive ends. We need somebody else for that 53-man. There's no doubt about it. How about this? I am going to go to a bachelor party this weekend, and I am super excited to be able to hang out with some of my really, really close friends. A lot of the guys are going to be at my bachelor party, and a lot of those guys are in my wedding. I'm in their wedding, and I really, truly think I met some of my best dudes back in my college days. So my buddy, his name is Dave, and we're going to be at his bachelor party. So here's the thing. If anybody wants to see what I'm doing on Thursday this week, Friday this week, Saturday, Sunday, bachelor party, I'm going to be posting stuff on my Instagram. If you haven't already, give me a follow on IG at MitchellReds365. I'll also be posting a little things here and there just around like Raiders news that happens. I'll do my best to keep you guys up to date. But if you've always watched this show and you're like, Mitch, I get all my Raiders stuff here. The reason why you follow me on IG, bachelor party this weekend. All I'm saying, if you know the movie reference, I've been told we might get the pitching machine. Only real ones will get that reference. Let's go to Gator. What up, Gator? I heard Alan Lazard could get cut by the Jets. Could the Raiders sign him because of Getsy? I actually heard the exact opposite today, and again, I'm recording this on Monday, that the Jets plan on keeping Alan Lazard. I think the reason why Alan Lazard was signed in New York is because of Aaron Rodgers. I will admit, though, if Lazard got released, I would be very curious to see if Getsy would try to go out and try to get him to add a little bit more depth because Michael Gallup has not been practicing during OTAs. Guyton has got some injury concerns as well. And even though Lazard's not fantastic, I will say this, his best seasons did come with Luke Getsy, can be a little bit of a field stretcher. So just a name to at least think about, to consider, but I'm not going to go out of my way to figure out a way to bring Alan Lazard to the silver and black because it would be a lot more expensive than what you're paying Guyton, what you're paying Michael Gallup. Let's go to Melly. What's up, Melly? Scenario, Raiders are 7-7. Aidan O'Connell or Minshew season is over. Do you sign Tom Brady? I don't know if you'll be able to sign Brady for one because of the NFL rules with him being an owner. I said this, though. There's no way any person alive, if I told you right now, would you rather have Tom Brady or Aidan O'Connell or Gardner Minshew in the playoffs? I'm taking Brady in the playoffs. And it's not a rip against Aidan. It's not a rip against Gardner. It's just, I would take Tom Brady if it came to playoff time. If you're 7-7, I'm saying you're either going to go with Aidan O'Connell or Gardner Minshew, right? And there's that other part of it is if those guys get you into the playoffs, you almost have to roll with them. But 7-7, you got to go, to me, if the Raiders want to make the playoffs, you got to be a 10-7 football team. So you'd have to win out the remainder of your games. But I'm just going to have faith in Aidan and Gardner Minshew to get us to where we're going because I know as a content creator, I should like talking about Tom Brady because it's the gift that keeps on giving. But there's a part of me that just wants to put the Brady rumors to bed because I don't see him any way, shape, or form coming out of retirement, man. And I don't see how it's possible. If you enjoyed this mailbag, here's the thing. I do a mailbag once a week until you guys don't like the video. If you want to check out the mailbag that I did last week, which is around Aidan O'Connell, Gardner Minshew, I get asked a question about the Raiders trading for a quarterback. Tons and tons of questions. All I'm saying is go check out the mailbag that I made last week here on the Raiders Report. Let's go to Lance Smith. What's up, man? What's your favorite Raider of all time? Bo Jackson, I think he's the greatest athlete of all time. Charles Woodson has to go on that list. My dad's favorite Raider is Jim Otto, R.I.P. to the great. I also say Howie Long's got to be up there. Those are probably, and then I'll say right now, Maxx Crosby is my favorite Raider, and I'll probably go on my tombstone saying Mad Max will probably be my favorite Raider of all time. Let's go to Ron. Do you think Laube has more or less than 5 total touchdowns on the season? I'll take the less, and I'm hoping that Laube is a big contributor. The real question is, though, how much work is he going to get? Because if he gets around 20 to 25 catches, I'd be like, oh, wow, it's pretty good for a rookie, considering the fact that we don't know exactly what his role is. But more or less 5 total touchdowns, I'm going to take the less on that one. Let's go to Brick. I love Lamp. If Colton Miller is hurt, what? Oh, if Colton Miller is hurt, who is a free agent we could sign to replace him? Really, really hope he isn't. I'll be real. I don't actually think that the Raiders would sign a free agent to replace Colton Miller. I think they already did that by signing Andres Pete, and Antonio Pierce said right away that he's going to be the backup to Colt, and he's going to predominantly be on the left side. If they, for whatever reason, aren't confident in Pete because of his past injury history, I'm going to throw out this name even though he's got plenty of injuries as well. David Bakhtiari. Bakhtiari's played multiple seasons with Luke Getsy from their time with the Green Bay Packers, so that could be a name. Also throw out the name Charles Leno Jr. I think he might be the best left tackle left on the free agent market, but again, I don't see the Raiders signing a free agent if Colton Miller is truly still dealing with that shoulder injury. Let's go on, man. Jeffrey, thoughts on your boy Tyler Jones AFC West predictions video. Raiders go 6-11 and AP gets fired. Sounds like Colin Cowherd take. I mean, the more outlandish take in there is Antonio Pierce getting fired. I think the only way AP gets fired this year is if they legitimately don't win a game. So that one's not going to happen. And I'll say this, Tyler's not the only one to doubt the Raiders. The Raiders are doubted every single season. I feel like the last 3 years, the nation has been picked to finish last in the AFC West, and they just don't finish last in the AFC West. I think people that think that the Raiders are going to go 6-11 only look at the quarterback room. They're not looking at the defense, where the Raiders legitimately, to me, have a top 5 defense. They had a top 2 defense last season with Antonio Pierce, so I'm not really going to worry about it. People are going to pick the Raiders to finish last, and I'm okay with it. Pick the Raiders to finish last all you want. 6-11? Cool, because I'll tell you this right now. I think the last time I saw the Raiders win total was 7.1 according to Vegas. I'm hammering the over on that every single day of the week. This was an 8-9 football team last season with Josh McDaniels and even worse quarterback play than what they have now. So they're going to surprise a lot of teams. I don't think they're going to be a Super Bowl caliber team. I don't think that they're going to be a team that wins 11 and 12 games, but I do see them being a 9-10 win football team this upcoming season. All right, y'all, shout out to everybody that's watching us live here. If you made it this far in the show, let me know how many games you think the Las Vegas Raiders are going to win this season, and I'll try to do my best to find that prediction video. That way you guys can go wreak havoc over there at Chat Sports. We would definitely appreciate it here on the show. Again, y'all, shout out to the nation. I think I got one more. No. Shout out to the nation again for tuning into the Raiders Report. Next time you guys will see me live, if you're watching this live, will be tomorrow, Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're not watching this live, the next time I'll be live is next Monday, a week from now, here on the show. What up, Captain Jack, Mitch, and Wish version of Chugs today on the Raiders Report?
Yep.
What's the TEMU? What's that called?
TEMU?
Do you know what I'm talking about or no?
Isn't he like a streamer or something?
No, it's like an app where you just get really cheap shit. It's like a Shein.
Oh, I've heard of that.
I've only seen it. No idea how to pronounce it.
I've heard it.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Captain Jack, you're not wrong. Aggressive Master Raider. Sorry I'm late. What's up with Jeremy Sips?
He don't be chugging. That's why I'm here. He do not be chugging.
I'll be 100% honest with y'all. I did not look at the schedule today. And I was like, oh, man, Jeremy's late. What the hell is it? And Trace is like, I'm with you today. I'm like, all right, let's run it. Let's do it. Let's run it. Ventrac, 7-Up or Sprite? I'm a 7-Up guy. Sprite a little too sweet for me. I like Sprite. I don't really care.
My mom
is I would pick the sweeter one, though.
My mom is 7-Up over Sprite, but I'm Sprite over 7-Up.
So one time when I was in college, we did I don't know if it's 2 bananas, 1 Sprite, or 1 banana.
Whatever it is. The banana and Sprite challenge.
We did that in college. What a disaster that is.
Bad move?
You know, the video that you showed me before we went live. No, not that one.
Oh.
That was basically everybody on our baseball team.
That's awesome.
It was
good for them.
Horrific.
Good for them.
So basically what happens, the science behind it, and I don't understand everything to it, but the bananas almost act like Mentos, like when you put them, and it just bubbles into a point where it's like, it's going to come out.
That's crazy. I never did that one. I never. Maybe I should do that. Maybe we could do that on the Raiders Report one day.
Venthrak, I'm not going to do a good enough job of explaining it. You got to look up the video of Sprite Banana Challenge. It's kind of wild. Bad. 7-Up or Sprite, though, let me know down below. Rebel, update on the fan meetup in LA. I don't have any details on anything yet, Rebel. I'm really sorry. I am going to try to do a better job of figuring out a meetup spot this summer. I really, really, really want to be able to do one in LA. But, like, I also want to be invited. I don't want to be stepping on anybody's toes. Like, there are some Raiders groups that, quite frankly, might not want me there, right? Like, I don't know. And if somebody invites me, if you know somebody that's running an LA party and they're like, hey, we want Mitch and Chugs there, we will figure out a way to make it happen. But I don't want to invite myself to somebody's party, if that makes sense.
I mean, my mom always raised me to not invite yourself. So, if you get invited, it's fine. But
I think for some Raider fans to just go is one thing. The only reason why I say it is I had an unfortunate experience one time where I went to a Raiders meetup and I was quickly let know that I was not wanted there. So some people like me, some people don't, and that's just the way that it is.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, dude.
Which Raider event was
I can't say it on this, but
off camera, we'll say.
Yeah, I can tell you. I don't work with that group anymore, so
interesting.
It is what it is, but I'm down. Zon, I'm with you. Trace is the real one. Trace is the real one. If it wasn't for Trace, we wouldn't even be here today. All right, y'all. Final call to get in this duck race here.
Wait, Captain Jack knows ball. Captain Jack knows ball here. My dad told me to do this the other day, and he said it's incredible, and I did it over the weekend, and this shit is fire. You cook your popcorn in bacon grease.
Okay.
And it'll pop, it'll taste like bacon, and it's just so damn good.
See, that means I guess my question is, how are you cooking it with bacon grease? Because
the
only way I've ever cooked popcorn is with the popcorn button.
So you put it in the pot.
Okay.
You have like a pot or whatever that you cooked your bacon in your pan. You put the kernels in there, cover the bottom. You don't want to do too much, but cover the bottom enough. Put the lid over it, and it'll just heat it up and pop it like those things you put in the fire.
Orville Redenbacher.
Yes, it's like those.
Okay.
That's the same thing.
Interesting.
It's so good. Captain Jack knows ball.
Captain Jack knows corn. I mean, I would imagine you got a name like Captain Jack. Probably has a few captains. Knocks back some popcorn.
No doubt. No doubt.
Dude, bacon when you're drunk, it's hard to beat.
Bacon anytime.
Bacon,
my mom calls it meat candy.
Meat candy?
Yeah. It's great.
I made bacon. So the only time I really cook breakfast is on the weekend. I usually am a bacon, egg kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And Chuck now knows, like, it's like as soon as I open up the bacon, he's like the happiest person in the world. Yeah. Alex sent me a video the other day of a dog licking the TV that was like cooking bacon.
That's
like it literally just showed like it was like the cooking channel. Like I was like an up close of like this guy like cooking bacon and the dog's literally just like licking the screen.
That's hilarious.
I'm like, that's Chuck, man.
That's so funny.
He's a bacon fiend. All right, we got a few more people that decided to get in our duck race here. Randall Carter, you in, and then Timmy Jones is in. So as it stands right now, $20 Venmo, you would win $90 here on the Raiders Report. The next person that gets in, though, you would win. If we get one more, it'd be $100. One more for a hundo. So Trace, I'm gonna send you the names that I got.
Okay.
You can put. I'm gonna send them. To TV.
Okay.
And then we will go from there. So I will be live tomorrow on the show at 4 p.m. Eastern time, so just keep that in mind. And we might get into some shenanigans.
Some good old-fashioned tomfoolery, if you will.
We might get into some shenanigans. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. This week having 2 full days and then a half day, and then it's my buddy's bachelor party. Like all week, everybody's like talking about like things that we're gonna get, like the whole rundown. Don't tell Brett or James this. I am like already in bachelor party
you're
mode.
Checked out.
So tomorrow I might be down to clown.
Dare I say you may beat Bop around a little bit?
I might.
Might have to.
Might be down to clown a little bit tomorrow. Though I'm not a golfer, and we're golfing twice.
I went on a bachelor trip and it was golf every day, and I don't golf, so I decided to drive around on a golf cart and just get drunk the entire time. It's really fun.
I'm gonna try
really
to golf.
Fun way to do it.
I'm gonna try to golf at least one day. So Thursday, I'm going to try to golf. And if it's a disaster, Friday is me just going to be making bets with the guys and trying to win some money.
Yep.
That's what it's going to be. All right, I'm going to refresh my phone one final time.
One more time.
And then David Zahn, which this is a rare one, is in. And then Johnny B. Good is in. Zahn has never won a duck race like this. Though
really?
He did win 7 straight duck races to win $1,600 during our March Madness tournament.
That's pretty insane.
So if I'm going to win one, it's probably the one to win.
That's insane.
That's probably the one to win. Yeah, wild stuff there. Also, Zahn, I'm going to be sending you something in the mail. I'm going to try to get it out Wednesday. If I don't get it out Wednesday, I got a surprise coming in the mail for you. So just be on the lookout for it, Mr. Zahn. Okay, Trace, that's all the names we got. Let's run this race. It's going to be 20 to win, $110 on the show. $110. Does anybody like golf? Like honestly, are you a golfer? Y for yes, N for no. Well, Raffle Montana. Bang! What's up, Rebel? Rebel said, you know what? You can put me first place on the bang race for the month of June. We got a brand new bang race. Congratulations again to last month's winner, who was Venthrak, which I thought I put these numbers in. I guess I missed it. Venthrak was the winner from last month. It's also a good opportunity for me to give a shout out to all of our past winners this year, which has been Justin Abgen, Lord Cameron Abbott, David Zahn, Ira Jackson, and now Venthrak. That's what? Venthrak! Bang! Venthrak! Not so fast, sweetheart.
Not so fast, sweetheart.
Venthrak said, not so fast. And in the blink of an eye, we get to hear.
Whoa.
Whoa, oh, whoa. I'll say this. Save it for tomorrow. You guys want to get weird tomorrow?
Getting weird is top 3 coolest things.
I mean, I'm kind of down. I am in bachelor party mode. I really am. I'm totally down. Rebel said, I lasted 30 seconds. Touche. Are you guys down to clown tomorrow? If you guys are down to clown tomorrow, I'll be down to clown tomorrow. All right, so the winner of this race is going to win $110.
I have at L3.
$110. Zahn, put my jersey on tomorrow. I dare you. I don't know if I want to.
Here's the thing. I'm scared.
I'm briefly worried for the Zahn jersey. Zahn, if you want me to wear your jersey tomorrow, I will wear your jersey tomorrow. Zahn's probably the only person here. No disrespect to everybody else. Zahn, you're going to get what you want. Zon, you want the jersey tomorrow, I'll wear it, but I do also want to wear 2 other people's jerseys who I've never worn tomorrow, so keep it in mind. Zon, how about this? I'll make you a deal. I will have the David Zahn jersey close to me. We will do a Raiders Report jersey raffle courtesy of David Zahn, and I'll wear 3 other jerseys that I just got tomorrow. What do you think, Zahn? What do you think about that? And does that work for you? And since we're doing a jersey raffle tomorrow in honor of Zahn, if Zahn banks tomorrow, I'll do a boot for Zahn.
Boom.
Does that sound good to you, Mr. Zahn? If it does, then we got ourselves a deal. So I'm going to wear 3 new jerseys. If Zahn bangs, it's a boot for Zahn. And we'll do a Raiders Report jersey raffle for Zahn tomorrow.
He said, I bet.
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 We got it. Locked in. 3, 2, 1. Run it. Run it, run it, and run it, run it. Ooh, Charles G right now out to a little bit of a lead. Tommy Jones also in an interesting spot. Oh,
Don't sleep on Santana.
I'll tell you what, if I'm Noah Santana, I kind of like where I'm at.
I do too.
Carl's in a good spot as well. Jason G, Randall Carter. I think he hurt us, and he might have blew the nos a bit too early. Zahn creeping up here, and right now, if the race were to end, Zahn would be the winner. Jason G though starting to pull up. Jason G, he's got 2 of them in this race. I'll tell you what, this one's back and forth. Reminder: whoever comes in last, you get the ultimate prize. Johnny B. Good. Jason G. falling back.
Home stretch.
We got 12 seconds to go. Who's going to go home
Click
with
the
$100?
nos.
Who's going to go home with $110? Keith Craigo. Santana. Zahn. I think it's going to be Keith.
Oh.
I'll tell you what. Keith was never really, he just hung around.
Yep.
Hung around. Very, very smart race there by Mr. Keith.
We almost bought No Santana a new pair of headphones. So close.
Yeah, that's too bad. Also, this is Keith. Keith has raced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times with us.
Nice.
First win.
There you go, Keith.
Congrats to Keith. Keith, if you're watching, if you could please confirm with me down below that you just received $110 here on the Raiders Report, that would be much appreciated, Keith. Much, much appreciated. Yeah, Zahn, come on. You already knew. You already knew you didn't win. All good. All right, y'all, I got to get out of here. Trace, shout out to him. If you guys could say thank you to Trace for filling in for Chugs today.
Shout out Raider Nation.
Always, always, always. It's appreciated, man. I mean, again, without the producers that we have here, we wouldn't be able to do a lot of the crazy shenanigans that we do. And speaking of crazy shenanigans, you guys want to get weird tomorrow? I think we're gonna get weird tomorrow here on the show. It's gonna be my last live show of the week. I got a bachelor party, so let's get this bachelor party started off the right way. Tomorrow, shit show here on the Raiders Report, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Don't be late.